Okay, Pro Street update. We've got a long way to go and a short time to get there. So let's see if we can't crank this out as fast as we can. So speed up the listening parts of your body because we're going to be talking fast. All right, so Pro Street Group build, we are working on the Super B, the 70 Super B, and it is, it's being super. A little bit of an issue with the body here and there, mostly operator error. I had done a couple of scratches that I felt were a little bit deep for what we needed to do here. We were taking care of a parting line that came down through here. Most game shows have parting gifts. This came with parting lines, so we went after it with a little bit of a file. Gave it a couple of scratches I felt were a little bit on the deep side. So we chased after them. With this stuff here, this is a surface primer. This is liquid surface primer from Tamiya, as opposed to I don't know, solid surface primer. But this stuff is thick and goopy. And look at, here's a good example of how thick and goopy it is. Here's a spill on the bottle. That actually has dimension to it. I mean, that's I can't even press my thumb into that. So I like to slather that type of stuff over scratches and stuff, and then I'll let that cure up for a couple of hours and then come back with a sanding sponge and then take it back down. And usually it does a pretty good job. So we're hoping that that does that on that. I had that on both sides, so I have a matching set. And then this dude here actually had a little bit of a sinkhole right there. So I thought, well, I'll dab some primer in there and see if that fills that in a little. And then we had a little bit of a sinkhole up here on the passenger side fender. It almost looks like that's a fill hole for where an antenna would have been, perhaps, but it turns out that actually corresponds with this lug that's underneath here. So boo, it is what it is. But we have been doing some work on this here. We kind of we were running our finger over this, over the inside of the engine opening, and it felt rough, it felt uneven. So we chased after it with this guy here, this nice little flat file. Just got it to the plane that we wanted to keep it at, and then kind of went from there. We did that in full anticipation of having to do this to the hood, where we're adding on some styrene strips to help widen it. It was a little too narrow. It was jiggling around in there pretty bad. So I mean, like, it was one of those deals where if you brought the hood all the way over to one side, there was a definite transient air gap on the other side of the hood where it's supposed to meet up with the fender. So yes, we know that this is a little too wide right now. I used some styrene stock that I had, which is this stuff. It does feel mighty thick. I'm not quite sure how thick this is. It's it's got like a bunch of zeros in it. So we actually, this is kind of cool. We wanted to widen the hood a little bit, so we took this strip of styrene, and this is the actual width that I used, and I glued it on there. I didn't try to follow the curve or the contour of the hood at all. I just glued it on there in one big slab, down like that, and then let that cure up, and then came back with a hobby knife and just followed the curve. My grade school teachers always said I was really good at staying inside the lines, so I made them proud. And we sliced that all up and followed the contour, happy dappy like that, and then we went and sliced off the end and then broke off a piece. So that's why we have this shaving equivalent of a piece of toilet paper on the back here, helping fill that in. We'll get that all happy looking. But we wanted to put this on, and then the plan is to sand this down to the width that we want on both sides. I had planned on just doing a strip on one side, and then I realized that could actually look offset. It could move the hood, shift it or something like that. And with an engine sticking through the hood, that's going to look kind of weird when everything's kind of, offset to one side. Unless, of course, I glue the engine in cockeyed, then life's happy. But what are the odds of that happening? I mean, this is BG Vinyl Workshop. I look forward to your comments. Anyway, after doing the strips on there, we happened to notice that we didn't really like the curve that's going on here. The curve of the hood was actually tightening up too much, to where it was too much curve going on towards the edges. So we took a sanding stick and sort of milded out that curve a little bit, trying to shallow that up a bit. And I do like how that looks now, even though we can't see because the camera decided to focus on what's going on in the background. So there, that's a lot better than it was. I still want to do a little bit more sanding on there to lessen the, shallow up that curve a little bit more. But we have to wait for this guy here to cure up and be nice and solid. And then we can move on with the things. So that's actually looking pretty good for us. So that's that. Interior wise, oh, I got to get the body back again because it helps tell the story. This is the interior for the original body of the car that we had gotten, and I had this in here for the mock-up, and we'll see if we get this to line up correctly. This is your home. Go there. Thank you. Okay, good. So passenger side, ew, pretty. That looks nice. Go over here to the driver's side. What? Oh yeah, that's some funked up stuff right there. So I'm like, yeah, I could pinch in the body and I could clamp this and I could do that and all that stuff. I thought, well, wait a second. Fred sent us a second interior. Well, let's see how Fred did. He saved us with the body. Let's see if he can save us with the interior. Oh my God, Fred saved us with the interior too. Thank you very much, Fred. Appreciate that again, my friend. And so we're going to go ahead and switch over to this interior. The thing is that on this interior, we had gone and removed that automatic brake pedal. No, the car didn't have automatic brakes. It was an automatic vehicle, so it had brakes, a large brake pedal. So we shaved that off of there. And that's no big deal. We can do that on this guy here quite simply. The hard part was actually mounting brake and clutch pedals to the dashboard that we wanted to use for the kit. So we sliced those off of the other dash that comes in the kit that doesn't even fit because it's for a whole nother kit. So I was like, cool, all right, we'll harvest those and use those on the dashboard. So now we have the proper brake pedal stuff. Now, this whole car was mocked up with 560 canopy glue from Zap. How you pronounce that? Zap. Right there. So we mocked up the whole thing with that. And a couple of folks have asked off and on once in a while, hey, how strong is that? How hard is it to clean up the goo and all that kind of stuff? Well, I had just ripped off the seat right here. And there's a little bit of that 560 canopy glue left behind. And we're just using the pressure of our finger and a little bit of fingernail application. And that stuff's going to come off like the gooey stuff that came off the Reader's Digests. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm sorry you didn't have a good childhood. But yeah, I mean, it just peels right off. I mean, and you just need to apply the fingernail and it comes right off. Now, if you're one of the very few people out there that don't have fingernails, then you could probably ask your spouse to give you a hand. Say, dear, I need a finger. And she'll probably offer you one that you, hopefully, you can both appreciate. But yeah, so you'll get a feeling for how your spouse feels about you when you ask her to use one of her fingers. But yeah, that's just coming right off there like that. And I have that all over my desk, which I'm sure the uninitiated will come into my office and look at that and go, wow, you had a successful picking day, didn't you? Like, no, it's glue. Get your money out of the gutter. So there we go. The chassis, we have the subframe still glued to the chassis, and it is on there. It's on there. So instead of risking warping this or destroying it by ripping this off of this, and I'm giving it some pretty good pressure as an old man that's out of shape can do. But I'm giving it some good pressure. So soaking it in a pan of water is going to be the preferred method, so I don't destroy parts. Okay, did we do it? Did we get it all taken care of in time? Sure, I'm calling that good. We'll talk to you a little bit later on. Thanks for tuning in for this video here. We're going to be uploading this on Wednesday morning because I'm going to be doing other stuff around the house. So we'll have this posted on Wednesday. So hopefully everybody has a good Wednesday. And we'll talk to you all a little bit later on. Bye now.